Hi everyone, today we'll learn how to create a real-world database application using PHP. So we'll connect to a MySQL database using PHP and perform basic CRUD operations, which is create, read, update, and delete. So the first thing we are going to do is to download the required software. So for the purpose of this course, we are going to be using XAMPP or XAMPP. To download XAMPP, I will simply navigate to my browser and then I'm going to type XAMPP. So here you can see the download link, so I can simply click on download, and here you'll be given different options to download for Windows, download for Linux, for SOS. Now, one of the reasons I prefer XAMPP is that it's easy to install and it's actually a distribution that contains MariaDB, which is the same thing as MySQL. MariaDB is a fork replacement of MySQL. So every code you write in MySQL will definitely almost work in MariaDB. So it includes MySQL or MariaDB, PHP, and Perl. So the X, which is cross-platform, it comes installed with the default installation of Apache. So we need Apache for our server. We need MySQL or MariaDB. We need PHP actually. We don't need Perl, but it's going to install Perl on our system. So there are other tools you can use to install PHP on your system, but for this course I'll be using XAMPP or XAMPP to install PHP. So currently I'm using Windows, so I can simply click on any of these links, but I'm not going to do that because I already have a XAMPP downloaded. So I will go to my download folder. Okay, so here we go, XAMPP. I already have it, so just download it and then locate your download folder. So right here I have it stored in my software folder, so I'm just going to double click on it to begin the installation, and make sure you do accept. Click on yes to allow this app to make changes to this device. Click OK. Next. You can leave every other thing by default. If you wish, you can deselect Perl if you don't want Perl to be installed, but PHP is going to be installed. PHP MyAdmin is a graphical user interface where you manage your database. Already I have Workbench installed, so if I wish I can say install PHP MyAdmin. So I'm just going to leave that. MySQL, I already have MySQL installed, so I'm equally going to leave that. So I'll click on next, and then it says the selected folder is not empty, please select a different folder. So make sure you don't have such folder, because XAMPP is going to create a folder. I think I have a folder in, so let me delete the folder. Yeah, so I'm going to continue, next, 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 and installation will begin. So this is going to take quite some time, so you have to be patient until it completes. So I'm just going to pause the video and resume it where necessary. And then here it says, do you want to start the control panel? So I don't want to start the control panel right now, so I'm just going to hit on finish. So on your C drive you will definitely find a folder called XAMPP. In this section of this video, I have provided a CRUD application. It's actually a zip file that you can download, and currently I've downloaded it on my desktop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it once you have downloaded it, and I will go to my C drive, then the XAMPP folder, then I'm going to locate the htdocs, and I'm going to paste the CRUD app. Now this is a complete application that I'm going to use to demonstrate how PHP interacts with MySQL. Again, this is not a PHP programming course. The purpose of this course is to demonstrate how real-world application interacts with databases. So having a solid understanding of PHP is incredibly helpful. If you are new to PHP or would like a refresher course, I recommend checking out one of my PHP course, as this will give you a foundational knowledge you need to succeed in this course. Or if you are new to MySQL and would need a refresher course, I also recommend checking out my MySQL course, as this will provide you with all the necessary background to make the most out of this course. The link to these courses will be attached in the course material or in the description of this video. So once you have it pasted in the htdocs folder, I'm going to right click and extract all. And here we go. So I can delete the raw file. So here I have the CRUD application, but you may notice that there is another subfolder called CRUD. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select it and then cut it to the parent CRUD folder. So I'll paste everything right here. So CRUD, and then I can delete this folder. So we just have CRUD and then the files in the root folder. So next I'm going to open up my code editor, and then on the code editor I'm just going to move this and have it opened or connected to my Visual Studio Code. So here we go. I recommend checking out the MySQL database course. This course will give you foundational knowledge you need to succeed in this course. I will provide a link below in the description of this video or in the course material. So we have our database connection. So these are database connection file. Then we have delete, we have index and update. So the index is actually the root or the first file that we see when we visit or access this application. All right, so now let's take a look at our application on the browser. So we can fire up our browser, and before we can access our application, we need to switch on Apache. Now Apache server needs to be running because PHP is a server language, is a server-side language, so it needs a server for it to run. So what we need to do is on the local disk, then we can go to XAMPP, and in the XAMPP we have the XAMPP control panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this, then go to more, and I will send this to desktop. So I'm going to create a shortcut to desktop. So I've done that. So right here we have the shortcut. So I'm just going to open it, and here it says MySQL will not start without a configured blah blah blah. So we are going to start Apache. We are not interested in MySQL since I already have MySQL installed. So I'm just going to start my Apache, and here we go. Apache has started. So now let's go to our browser, and the way we can navigate to our application, which is a CRUD. So we are going to say localhost /CRUD, just like this, and hit enter. And here we go. So this is our CRUD application, and CRUD application stands for create, read, update, and delete. So the essence of this application is just to demonstrate how MySQL or how PHP interact with MySQL. So the first thing we are going to do, we are going to go to workbench, and we are going to create a database. So let's create a new database. Create database. Mind you, you can use PHP MyAdmin that comes with default installation of XAMPP to create your database. But to make things as simple as possible, since I already have workbench, I'm going to use workbench. Create database, and let's call this CRUD DB, CRUD underscore DB, just like this. So I'm going to execute that, and here we go. So if I refresh this, and here we have CRUD, create database CRUD DB. Refresh that again. Oops. Oh, here we go. We have CRUD DB. So let's go back to our app. Then on the DB database, we have to create our username. So our username is root. When I installed workbench, I specified this as root. So by default, it's actually root. And then the password is 2468. And then my database that we just created now is CRUD underscore DB. Alright, so if we are good, we can save the file. Now we are going to access db.php to know if we have a connection success or connection failure. So go back, and I'm going to say CRUD and db.php. We'll run that, and here we go. So that means the connection is successful. So actually we have a conditional statement. So first we have a variable which stores the connection to our database. So, and here we are saying if there is no connection, that's what it means. If there is no connection, or if connection wasn't established, then die. The page should exit. Then it's going to echo or print out connection failed. But we are going to say else so we can see it clearly. So we're going to say else. Let's just echo connection succeeded or connection success. Right? So close that with a semicolon. If I save that, and now let's go back and refresh, and here we go, connection success. So we have successfully connected to our database. Okay, so let's go back to our root directory, so which is our CRUD application. Now on the index, first we need to include, and which is like in other languages importing a file. So I'm going to uncomment this, so this will make the code active. So right now we have included our database. So our database, our db.php is right here in the index.php. And then secondly, I'm going to uncomment this line of code, and then this. So right here we are saying that if there was a submission, so that means if there is a submission add record. Then take the first name, the last name, the email field, and the date of birth. So right here we have the first name, the last name, email, and date of birth. So take all this data and first of all check if it's not empty. So you want to make sure that the user enters some values or some data in the form field. So if it's not this and this and this is not empty, then we have a variable, and then we have MySQL query, which is a function that inserts or interacts with the database. So it queries the database, and first it takes the connection variable, which is coming from db.php, comma, and then we have our insert statement, which is like a regular MySQL query. So this is like a regular MySQL query you can write in here. So, and it's going to insert into the users. So mind you, we have not created this table, so PHP is not going to create that table for us. We didn't ask PHP to create that table. So what we are going to do is we are going to create this table called users, then with first name, last name, email, and date of birth. Okay, so let's go to our graphic user interface and create this table. So I'm going to say use CRUD underscore db, right? And then I'm going to create the following tables. So I'm going to say create table, and the table is called users, and it's going to have an ID, and the ID is going to be of integer, and this is going to be auto increment, and the primary key. So next I'm going to have my f name, and this is going to be a varchar, primary key. Then we have f name, and this is going to be varchar. You could use an uppercase or a lowercase, and this is going to be l name, and this is also going to be varchar too. And here you have to make sure that you specify the length of the varchar. So let's say 50 is going to be the length, then varchar, and we'll have a length of 50 also, and we'll have email is going to be varchar, and the length is equally going to be 50 if you wish. And finally we have date of birth, and this is going to take the date format, and make sure you close it, and then this. So now I'm just going to copy this first before I execute in case of any error. So if I execute this, and here we go. So if we refresh these tables, and here we have users. Now we have successfully created our table. So let's go back to our code. So once everything is successful, that is greater than 0, that means success, then say successfully added to the database, and this message is going to be saved in this variable, else submission error. Then we have also the logic for updating data if button is clicked. So I'm going to uncomment this, and then this. So we can update the data when a button is being clicked. So we can update that. So if the update button is clicked, get all the information, check if it's not empty, and then update. So this is like a regular MySQL query. So update user, set first name according to the first name entered by the user, and if it's successful, echo database record successful. So now we can save this. Save this. Now let's go to delete. We equally uncomment the delete. We have to save this because this is using Ajax request. And then we have the update. We equally need to uncomment this, and then we save our file. So we have the update.php. So we are good to go. Now we can test our application. So everything is okay. So make sure your files are being saved once again, and now we can test run the application. So now refresh the page first of all. So database success, we need to remove that from our file. So on the DB, I have to remove this. So if I save that, and here we go. So first name, let's say Edmond, and my date of birth, let's say I was born in, let me just put any date for now, and I click on add record. We have no message that you can see successfully added to the database. Oh, that's wonderful, successfully added to the database. So now let's go and click refresh, click on the users, the columns. Okay, so what we can do is that we are going to select, so select all from users. So it's coming from the users table. If we execute this, and here we go, so you can see everything has been inserted into the database. But if you notice in the index, our records are equally supposed to be displaying right here. So let's go to the index. So the CRUD is the same thing as accessing index.php. So it's going to take you to the same page. And now if we go back on the index, let's see what we have. Oops, we didn't uncomment this. So we have to uncomment it and save the file, and let's refresh the page, and here we go. Awesome. So let's add more record, and it's time. Let's just select the date, add record, and here we go. Wow, awesome. So if we equally go back, so whatever you see here is actually being queried from the database. If it is not in the database, you will not see it right here. So if we run again, and here we go. So the ID, each user has an ID. So if I come to the front end, if I hover here, you can see I can update. If I click on update, I can update a user's information. Let's say his name is Stanley. Update, and you can see database successful, and here you see Stanley. So we can equally delete this. Delete. Are you sure you want to delete? Delete, and product deleted successfully. That's awesome. So in this section, we successfully built a CRUD application using PHP and MySQL. This foundation will help you build more complex PHP application in the future. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you for joining me and happy coding.